All right, everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about what happens and what to do if you have compromising information out there. Now, this can simply mean the presence of compromising information. It doesn't necessarily have to be used against you in any specific way. It just has to be that there's a presence of it. This can be anything. It doesn't have to be anything criminal. It doesn't have to be anything illicit. It can simply just be something embarrassing, something that you're embarrassed of, something that people that if they found out and they believed it, they may want to distance themselves from you. They may hate you. It could even incite some kind of violence against you. So, the best thing to do, if you want to protect yourself or you want to protect a client or someone that you work with, is to generate a counter narrative. And the purpose of this counter narrative is simply to make the original narrative or the compromising information less believable. I'll sort of give you an analogy here. If you have a religion, and this religion claims that they are true, right? That this religion claims to be totally true and all other religions are false. And then you have a second religion that maybe there's similarities, there's some overlap. But they also claim that their religion is true. Now, there's a 50-50 chance, right? There's a half 50-50 chance that you picking either one of those religions will be true. So the presence of the other religion will simply make a religion less believable because then you'll have doubt. Vice versa. So what you want to do with the counter narrative, with this cover story, is simply something as simple as, well, the information, the compromising information, was fabricated. And it was fabricated for the sole purpose of revenge. Now, this could be revenge for something really big. Maybe you expose an organized crime syndicate. Maybe you leaked sensitive information, some top secret stuff. I don't know. Let's just stick with those two, actually. Right? You leak sensitive information or you expose an organized crime ring. Or maybe you leaved a gang. You decide to leave them. You betrayed an organization, right? So this is something that's more socially acceptable. And this would sort of give doubt to the original narrative. Okay, well, people believe maybe, in fact, this was, in fact, fabricated. There's this counter narrative now. Obviously, you would need to support this counter narrative. You might have to provide details, provide evidence. Now, it doesn't have to be actual evidence. You could find a way to fabricate the evidence. An example would be creating different personas. You can create websites, shell companies. You can create different LLCs. So now it looks like there's this huge network of different actors, different people, and they're sort of having this conspiracy to discredit you, to undermine you, to make you look bad. Maybe you are a researcher for some company, right? And you figured out this huge scientific breakthrough, and that can put other companies at risk. That can put a certain industry at risk. Maybe that's all it needs, right? So then you'll give evidence. You could even fabricate this evidence. How so? Well, like I just said, create LLCs. You can get burner numbers and code to different locations and then have those burner numbers, those burner devices, communicate with one another. You can Photoshop faces. Now, obviously, in the age of where AI has gotten really good and deepfake is really good, you could simply claim that it's deepfake, and that will work. But of course, that may or may not be enough. So, take your bets. Either way, it's best to create as much counter narrative as you can, right? You could even do something as virtue signaling. You could state that, like, well, there's no way this would have happened. Look at me, and then you could edit the compromising information, right? You could make edits to it and create multiple edits. So now people aren't sure which one to believe. Well, this screenshot of these text messages are different from the screenshots of this text message. And you can do this with 4 or 5 different text messages. Now, of course, they would need to line up with one another, right, when you do the edits. But at least you're generating doubt. And what you're doing is you're making the original narrative, the compromising information, less believable. Hope that helps, guys. Take care.